Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn, and today I'm going to do something a little different. I am going to create my card digitally, and I'm crafting with Bitty Penny's Forest Meadow. This is a digital paper collection. Bitty Penny is a new KCC 17 super sponsor, so welcome on board, Bitty Penny, and thank you for super sponsoring us. As a super sponsor, not only has she donated a prize that you can win if you play along with Kendra's card challenge number 17, but as well she's also given some members of our design team some products to play with so that we can showcase and in some cases introduce her shop to you. If you've never heard of Bitty Penny, she is a creator here on YouTube, and last year she opened up her shop. She sells not only digital collections like what I'm using today, but she also does sell physical papers. And her papers are cool. They're larger. They are 6x8 if you get the physical papers. And these ones, this collection is really fabulous. You get 30 pages that have been designed to be printed on 8.5 by 11. And what's really, really awesome with this digital collection is that I'll show you in a moment. It's also got backgrounds as you can use for prints and whatnot, but then there's also collaged, like pre-collaged backgrounds that you can use, and then there's cut aparts that you can use for focal images. So it's really a great collection to craft with. Now, one of the things that I'm gonna do, and I've only, I think, done this maybe one other time before, but I'm going to essentially recreate KCC 17 sketch number 4, and I'm gonna create all of the shapes digitally here in Photoshop. I'm using Photoshop because that's what I'm most comfortable with, and I'm faster in this as a photo editing program than any others. But you can use anything that you have access to, and a lot of times there are free software out there that will do a lot of the same features and functionalities that I'm using here. Canva, I believe you could probably do everything that I'm doing, and Canva is free. So once you've created the sketch here, what's going to be really awesome is that it'll be really easy to swap in some of the beautiful digital papers and start to create the card. And it's going to come to life right in front of my eyes. And the beautiful part of it is that it's going to be really easy to kind of preview some things and super easy to make changes and swap out different papers just to see how they look. So once I have the basic building blocks, I'm going to use a feature in Photoshop called creating a clipped mask. So basically each of these shapes acts as a mask that you can put an image on top of and have it clipped to just that shape. So here's the portion of that pattern I want to use. I want to use the deer head, and you can see that the clipping that particular paper to the circle shows just where the two overlap. So where the pattern paper overlaps with that circle, that's what's going to show. And so I'm going to go through and look at the different patterns and see what I want to use for this card and continue to clip them to the element where I want to use it. So you can see it's really easy to just move things around. And the beauty of working with digitals is that you can scale them. So if I had just printed these papers out as full sheets of 8.5 by 11, a lot of the critters would have been too big for these smaller circle designs on this particular card sketch. And then once the card sketch is created, you could easily bring in another digital paper collection and then swap in some new papers and create a completely differently themed card. So it's one of the things that's really nice about working with digis is that you can really kind of very easily, if you're familiar with photo editing software, you can easily kind of make some tweaks and set things to exactly the right color, exactly the right size and shape. So a moment ago, I used a color picker so that I could pick the exact right color to frame my entire card here. And for me, I don't have like a huge range of solid color cardstock, so the chances of me having the exact right match in my craft room is slim to none. A lot of times I just try to use some neutrals. And in fact, I'll show you that's what I indeed end up doing, because I'll make two cards. I'm going to make this card the way that I'm designing it here, and I'm just going to print it out and then it'll be done. But I'm going to show you a second way to create with digis, and actually it'll end up looking similar but quite different in the end. So as I'm wrapping up my digital design here, let me tell you a little bit more about Kendra's card challenge if you've never played along before. So in the description box below, there's a link to where you can download the free printable. In this PDF guide, you'll find the cutting guide that shows you how to cut down 6 sheets of 6x6 pattern papers, and as well, there will be 15 card sketches that show you how to use all of the pieces that you just cut and create 15 unique cards and have 0 scrap left over. So once I finished my design, I printed it out, but not only did I print out that full design that I made, I also separated out all of the elements that I used to layer up and create this card. And by separating them out, that gives me the option of reassembling all of those individual elements, and I can then maybe add some foam or add some different choices for mats and layers. So this first card is super easy. All I did was just glue it down to a card base, and then we're done with the first card. Now with the next one, I did make each of these elements just a smidge larger than what I needed so that I could cut them down to size. What's nice about this is that instead of printing out like a full sheet, all I've done is scaled everything down to what I need and just created sections of the various different pattern papers, and it's all sized to fit already, and that way I don't have scraps left over either. So it's kind of nice to actually craft this way with digis as well, because I don't have a lot of leftover full pages, and I'm also assured that everything that I've created, it's going to fit scale-wise really nicely with the card design that I'm making. And so I'm going to trim everything down so that I have just the elements that I need. And then I'm going to add my mats and layers. Now, in retrospect, I wish I had maybe printed out a maybe a half sheet of some solid colors that I could use and have perfect color matches for adding my mats and layers. But since I didn't think to do that, I'm just going to use black cardstock for my mats and layers. And for these circles, thankfully, I actually have a circle die that fits it relatively perfectly. And so I'll use a set of dies to cut that out. If you want to see some more inspiration featuring Bitty Penny and KCC17, expand the description box below and you're going to find a playlist where my fellow teammates are sharing other products that they chose to work with from Bitty Penny. So I know some of us on the team chose to work with digis and others chose to work with physical product. So you'll have a chance to see a variety of different products that are available in Bitty Penny's shop. I hope you'll pop on over and check out some of her amazing collections, because they're really unique and I feel like she has her own style. And if you are wanting for more inspiration, definitely follow Bitty Penny and check out her YouTube channel. She has joined our team this quarter, so that's really fabulous to have her a part of the team. But of course, Biddy Penny, she has videos on her YouTube channel and she live streams fairly often as well. So if you're looking for inspiration from the creator herself, you can find her here on YouTube as Biddy Penny. So I've got all of my elements here, and now I can decide, do I want to glue things down flat or do I want to glue things down raised onto some foam? Now I'm using some Kalal all-purpose glue. It's a really nice solvent-based glue that won't wrinkle your papers or show glue lines because it's not water-based. It's not going to actually soak through the papers. And I printed everything out on color copy paper. I didn't print it out on cardstock. So these layers are pretty thin. And what I'm going to do is some things I'll lift on some low profile foam. So for example, this strip here, I've got some low profile foam that's only 1 millimeter thick, and that'll give me some nice dimension to start with. Now these critters, because I had to use the die that was one size up in my nested die set, they take up a little bit more room than the original set of circles does. So what I'm gonna have to do is overlap them a little bit. So I'm going to glue this more or less straight onto that vertical strip. But because parts of the circle hang off the edge, I'm putting a little bit of that same low profile foam so that it comes to roughly the same thickness or level. And that way everything's nice and flat. And then the bunny, I'm going to add a second, another bit of low profile foam. And I use 3D glue gel on the two sides because off to the two sides of the bunny, there's two layers or two thicknesses of foam. So here is my first card, created essentially digitally, printed out, completely flat, but still has some really nice borders, mats, and layers. It's just all flat and a super easy mailer. Really beautiful. I was able to color pick and create the perfect mat around the entire border. So I really love that. I didn't think to print out some of that paper for me to use on my second card, so I've used black as my mat on my second card, and I used some dies to cut out these very intense looking critters. I really love it. And I chose to add some mats and layers, some foam, some low profile foam, and some 3D glue gel to add some dimension to my card. So two cards that share the same sketch, but just assembled differently and have a slightly different look to them. Really love how both of them turned out, and just depending on how you like to craft, there's so many different options for crafting with digis. So I hope you'll check out Biddy Penny's shop, and as well check out the playlist below for even more inspiration featuring products from Biddy Penny. Thanks so much, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.